Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bedtime story. Earlier today, I posted um, a thing about what it's like working out here, and it's for the most part been great. And I've had a lot of really interesting stories, and I've had like a condensed amount of life experiences in 2020. And I know a lot of people feel that way, but I mean I've had a lot of different work situations in a short amount of time, and so it's been interesting. And I've had so this story, I referenced this story today. Well, this wasn't the point of the post. And then I realized, yeah, man, I've only actually told 7 or 8 people this, and this is kind of a wild thing that happened, at least in my life experience. For something like this is something you'd tell 25 people just right out of the gate, within 3 days you tell it, because it's not a day-to-day thing, and or just how funny it is in relation to how. Okay, well, I'll get into it. So a couple months back, I had this janitor job, and there were some kind of different stressors. I mean, you're always just trading one set of problems for another when you switch from one job to another. But I was doing this, and at first it was it felt like I was doing it to supplement income, and then it was this kind of job where it was just sucking up all my energy, and I was actually walking sometimes upwards of 11 miles a day at work, in addition to walking to and from work here in Glendale. So it'd be a 3-mile round trip plus 11 miles on. This is on the extreme days, and you're talking a 14-mile day. On the lighter walking days, I was walking, I don't know, more 8 round, gross. And I'm a former marathon runner. I'm not an athlete. I'm one of these hobby marathon runners. I mean, this is going to be kind of a big part of the story, honestly, is this whole okay, well, I'm kind of a good runner, right? And but I'm friends with some people that are real athletes, boxers, military, real marathon runners, people who've qualified for Boston and stuff like that. I'm not like that. I'm I train for a marathon. I spend most of the marathon in a porta potty, and everyone's clapping outside yay runners, and it's just because I over carb loaded, and I self-sabotage, I do things like that. But people who know me know that I have kind of good running technique. I'm pretty good at not injuring myself. I, for the most part, land on the balls of my feet. I spring. I'm good at a little bit of sprinting when I need to sprint. I'm really good at pacing myself. I've run thousands of miles, definitely, as a lot of my friends have as well. A lot of distant runner friends. I'm not running a lot right now, but so. These work days where I'm walking way too much in a real small building, they actually are wearing down on me pretty bad. And I don't know what it is, why walking is more draining than running. And I'm not running that much right now. But anyway, so I'm walking home from work. I had probably a pretty bad night at work, bad week at work, and so I'm traveling north on Brand in Glendale, and in Glendale, Brand runs just parallel to Central. So anyway, I would normally take Central home. For some reason, I'm walking home on Brand, and that's not relevant. I mean, there's nothing special about Brand. Being on Brand is not okay. So for example, delivering food. I'm delivering food. I don't know exactly where I'm at. I mean, I think I'm in southern Glendale, northern Los Angeles, somewhere in there. And I see a picture of a really cool old El Camino, and I'm oh, dope, man! I wanted to Danielle's gonna like this, so I'm gonna pull up and take a picture of this car, right? I think it's a cool novelty, vintage car. And as I get closer, I see it's got some graffiti on it, and I'm slowing down a little bit, and then I see what's painted on it is hi. I used to be a narc. Now I'm dead. And it's all right, I don't need to take a picture of this. Yeah, so it's not. What I'm trying to say is that, being on Brand is not being in some neighborhood where someone's, a narc is dead. It's definitely not. There's nothing sketchy about where I'm walking. So there's no reason why this thing should have happened. But, so I'm walking home at night from work, and I'm walking north on Brand. Towards the Galleria in Glendale, and I'm walking past this guy. He's a tall guy, and he just looks I don't know, man. He just I don't. Okay, so the one or two things. He's either like he's just a tall guy wearing some like kind of loose clothing. You know, he's not like he's just dressed for comfort. You know, dressed for performance. I guess I don't know, but he's not yet. It's hot, but he's at a bus stop and he's either having a psychotic break or there's some hallucinogenics involved. You know, like he's either dosed or just having like a bad reaction to some amphetamines or something, or he's having a psychotic episode. Either way, I have compassion for that. But he's like talking to himself and he's kind of like punching the bus stop a little bit, and I'm like, all right, you know. So I have like my backpack on me, and inside my backpack, like I normally have like I'm just walking with a clean canteen. This is my Burlington Music Dojo. I still have fond memories of that employment scenario. But anyway, so like I'm walking home, I typically will have like my clean canteen in hand, like as though I'm drinking. But it's just like, you know, I'm not a paranoid person, but it's just like a good improvised weapon. Particularly like a trick I learned from my friend Adam Richardson is that like so it's like a good improvised weapon is that you have a like a big flashlight, like a mag light, like one of the large mag lights. And but you're not creating a termination, like you don't have both batteries in. You just have the one battery in, and that way, so it's easy to swing. The outside of it's aluminum. I mean, it's like it's a heavy material, or not a heavy material, but it's not shock absorption. So it sends all the shock right into the object, right? And then this one battery swings to the end of it, and it just gives you all this, like, all that kinetic energy just gets transferred, like, right to the end of it. Well, like, so my version of that is a clean canteen that's half full. If you do it when it's all full, it's a little harder to swing, and you're going for maximum velocity. If you're defending yourself, I mean, and I'm not an expert on this stuff, like, everyone who knows me, like, I am not someone who's won a fight like once in my life, but I have had my ass kicked a bunch. So it's like, this is stuff that I think about. I'm like that. Like every time I can minimize the severity of me getting my ass kicked, or if I can deter it, or I can prolong it, or just something. If it just like, you know, I'm definitely, I go into it with a philosophy that at the very least, if I'm about to get jumped, at the very, very least, the other person's just going to have a real bad day. You know, like, I might not successfully defend myself, but, like, they're going to have a lousy time. They're not going to feel like this was worth it. You know, and best case scenario, like, I get out of it somehow. Okay. Well, so a couple days before this thing happened, I'm walking past this guy who's having a psychotic break outside this bus stop walking north on Brand. So a couple days before this, I'm like, really, I just get it. I get food obsessed, so I'm like, there's this one taco place I want to check out, but what I want to do is I want to pick them up on the way to work, so like I walk all the way, like I'm like north of the Galleria slightly, and then, you know, I buy my tacos, but then I'm going to be late for my shift, so I'm running down Central to get to work, and I'm really sweaty, and it's like, when you're running, so here's where it gets to the part, like, you know, I mean, this is going to, the running thing, it gets more and more relevant as the story goes on. So it doesn't matter, like, the practice you have. If you're running in work boots and you are running because you're in a hurry, not running because you're, like, health or fitness, or, like, I'm having a race. And I mean, I don't know why. Like, I mean, it seems like such a weird thing now. Like, I don't do races anymore. But it's like, yeah, I'm going to go race some people that are all faster than me for some reason. So, but it's not like that. It's that, like, oh man, like I'm in like stress hormones firing off. Like I have to run. Like I have to do this thing. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna have bad technique. So I normally land on the balls of my feet. I'm like, I land on my heel real hard. I inflame an Achilles tendon. Okay. And it's not something like, I mean, for right now, like with COVID, I mean, like we're not going to doctors for things like that. So it's just like, okay, well, you gotta just walk it off for like days or weeks or however long it takes. So like, I'm already walking funny, because I needed to get tacos before work. You know, that's like the stupidest thing. But like I needed to get tacos before work. And therefore, I had to run to work in work boots, stressed out. And like I have an Achilles tendon thing. So I'm favoring one side the way I walk. I'm kind of like like, yeah, I don't know. It's sort of a weird thing, like old man walking, but like trying to like act like I'm walking that way on purpose. And I don't really know if I have that gear. Like, I don't think I pull that off when I'm doing it, but I have to, right? So anyway, so I kind of give this guy a wide berth. So this is getting back, like, this is the present time. I kind of give this guy a wide berth. And he sees me, and I don't, like, nod at him or anything. So I'm not trying to, like, you know, I just want to be, like, not intrusive. Like, just, like, let this dude have his little meltdown thing. Like, just, you know, just give him his privacy, give him his distance, but don't make a big deal out of it either, you know? So I walk past him, and he kind of nods at me, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, in that case, like, yeah, I nodded him, and I keep walking. And, you know, it just not passing the gut check, like Spidey sense is going off, and I'm just like, all right, I know this is a tell, like, you don't want to, like, show your hand this soon. But I'm just like, I'm gonna look over my shoulder, like, I just gotta see, I gotta know, and he's like, I'm like, all right, hell no, so, like, I mean, he's running after me, I'm running. And so I'm already running, like, I'm favoring one side in a weird way, so I'm not paying attention to technique. I'm just, like, thinking, like, wait, dude, it's on. This is totally on, and I'm not in the defensible position. The clean canteen is full, and it's in my backpack. Okay, and I'm like, and the guy's got, like, he's tall, man. He's got, like, a whole head on me, like, all kinds of reach. Like, I'm Burger. I'm not. Like, this is not how I want to meet this situation. I need to create distance. I have to. And these are all the thoughts that race in my head. It's like, you got to get to a defensible position. You got to find a place to make your stand. And then I just all of a sudden I have that moment of clarity. I was like, dude, what if this dude's not actually running after you? And what if you're just paranoid and you imagine that? So I'm like, okay, all right. So I didn't, like, come to a screeching halt, but, like, I kind of stopped running. I kind of went into a fast walk. I looked behind me again, and he stopped, and he's like really, like, just dead ass. And I'm just like, okay. Maybe this was a misunderstanding. He was running for a different reason because he just had to run. Like, you know, just like, you know, if you're on drugs, you just gotta run. Right? Sometimes, I mean, not that I would know anything about that kind of thing. Sometimes you're on drugs and you just gotta run. And maybe that's what this guy's experiencing. So I stop. I look behind me. He's like when you're, like, your dog's taking a shit, or like when a dog's about to bite you. Also, like, it's like the same look. So he gives me that look, and I'm just like, so I slowly start taking a step, and he starts running again, and I'm just like, no. All those things I just thought about, getting into the defensible position, creating distance, like, I gotta do it now. So of course I'm not thinking about, like, you know, how I'm hitting the ground when I'm running. You know, and I'm in these work shoes and everything, and it's just like, I'm like, I want to live. Like, this guy's got, like, every advantage on me from what I can tell. Like, in the best case scenario is, like, I'm like a cornered badger, and I just scare him enough, you know, because that's the thing is that, like, yeah, I mean, so this is the situation that I'm in, and I'm just like, also, even though I know I have all this baseline, like, distance running stuff, I'm like, dude, man, that guy might be a better runner than me. And then I look back again. He's got kind of a weird technique, I gotta say. I'm not meaning to make fun of him. But the dude's got, like, I mean, he's got this gait that's kind of like, he's tall. Like, that's a big part of it. Like, so normally, like, I've run with tall people before, but, like, the running, like, kind of hunched over, like you're on an exercise bike. I mean, it was kind of like maybe this guy had a way more experience cycling than running, because he had, like cardio, right? But he's kind of, like, hunched over, and his legs kind of like bicycle. It's like watching, like Roadrunner, or any, like, old school, like, Warner Brothers or Tex Avery MGM cartoon, where it's just like, you hear, like, the drum solo going on, and the legs are doing like this, and that's kind of how this guy runs. So I'm like, his feet are probably kind of a So anyway, I'm messing my feet up. I mean, like, the end of the story is not interesting or funny. It's just, like, later I'm messing my feet up. But so I'm trying to get into this defensible position, and I know, like, first off, this guy looks like maybe he's in better shape than me. He definitely is, like, if he gets his hooks in, I'm toast, you know, 'cause he's definitely bigger and stronger than me. There's no question about that. But like, I don't want to assume that just because like I'm a runner and a survivor and I'm like, I want to live, damn it, and you know, I don't want to assume that I can get away from him. You know, like, so I'm still like, my best plan is to try to ambush him still. So that's what I'm doing. So I feel like, I don't remember what side street it was, but it was like a west-east. I'm running west-east. I see a dark street. I'm like, that's my street. So I start barreling up it, and I reach this point where there's like, I'm in a block party, but it's like, it's only on one side. Like, I'm not like in the middle of this block party, but there are all these dudes, all these like jacked, shirtless dudes that are like maskless, totally maskless, making physical contact with each other, up on each other's shoulders, like sweaty and like, you know, and like looking like they're having a really good time. You know, I mean, so I'm trying to be happy for them, but I'm also like, pandemic, like I'm that guy. I'm just like, I want these shirtless, sweaty, jacked guys to be happy with each other. But I also I'm just like, but it's like, you know, morgues, like ICUs. I'm like, guys, you know, please. But I also am thinking, it's like, okay, dark street, but this park's well lit. These dudes are out there. There's something conspicuous. There's witnesses. Here's the spot. I bang around. The backpack hits the ground. I rip the clean canteen out of the backpack, and I'm like, I want to be hydrated for this. So I just start pounding, like I'm pouring water all over myself, like it's coming out of my nose and everything. But I pound probably like 2/3 of the clean canteen. So there's just like a little bit left. They're just the right amount, at least that's what I tell myself at the time. And I'm like coughing up the water and everything. And but like I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And I'm like, and I'm just like really like, I'm gonna make my stand against this like 6'10", 6'11" guy who might be on bath salts. So it's like, it's not an issue of like, listen, if I thought this dude was gonna rob me or that he was just mad at me, I mean, like, this part might have been obvious in the story, but if I thought he was gonna rob me or that he was mad at me, I mean, like, that's why at no point in this story am I like, sir, I have no quarrel with you, or like, do I like tell him to back off? I'm like, no, he's got like a bath salts vibe. Like, he's not trying to get my money. He's not mad at me. He like thinks that there's an alien inside me that he needs to liberate because that alien's gonna help him find his angel or something. Like this dude is not trying to rob me. He's like Gandalf, not trying to rob Frodo, okay? And he's tall like Gandalf too, so I'm just like, so anyway, yeah, I was never at any point that I have any illusions about reasoning with him. It's like, it's this, and I can't outrun him, or I can't count on being able to outrun him. So like, I gotta like take the stand and like just you know, trust that I'm at least gonna be sharper than him. And unlike him, like I can't kill this dude. Like unlike him, like I'm fighting to survive. You know, because I'm a little skinny, like I'm 148 pounds, and I'm like, I've never won a fight in my life, but like I'm gonna live, damn it. All right, so I got the water running down my face, and just like all these shirtless dudes are laughing at me. They're like, they think I'm the guy on bath salts, right? And like they beat right to a soup so I'm like ready for this dude. And so like I'm facing, this is the east-west street, and like Brand is this way, and I'm like ready for it. I'm like, ah. And what I see is his like bicycle. He just keeps running up Brand. So like, I seriously, to this day, I have no idea if he really was running after me, although he went out of his way to make it look like he was running after me. He just like didn't catch me going up this side street, or he already knew about this side street. He's like, no man, that's the sweaty shirtless guys, and they're all gonna give me COVID. But for whatever reason, he just like keeps running up Brand, and I haven't seen him since.